awesome day, everyone. And, this is the Benin Empire Advancement League, the home of all the Benin. Uh, it has been a long journey, the date, and I think this is the second president we are meeting since the beginning of the Benin Empire Advancement League. First of all, let us congratulate Ahmed Tinubu, president of Nigeria, although it's not the choice of many people, but he's the president of Nigeria. There's nothing we can do about it right now. Today, we are going to be talking about a little bit about tradition, a little bit about politics and religion, because of what is going on in Africa today. I don't know if anybody is taking notice of what is going on in Africa today. We can see the destabilization of Africa really taking place in a horrible manner. And what's affect Africa's or Africa's neighbors, West African neighbors, will also affect us, no matter our history, no matter our culture, or no matter the policies we put in place. Yes, and at the same time, our tradition, although there's some wake up in some areas from the children of the Benin Empire, but we still have a lot to do. We still have a lot to do because religion is really taking a toll on our tradition, our culture, and other. But first of all, let me just what we are doing today is just a talk of the day, what is really happening, and why is it happening, the way it's happening. As Mohammed Ahmed Tinubu was about to be sworn in, a lot of people came out and say he cannot be president of Nigeria because of his past, because of his age, and because of so many other things that transpired in his life career. And we can see today nobody can really predict the future because many people were thinking the next president could be Peter Obi of the Labour Party, or the other man from the PDP. But we know today that nobody can really predict the future. Even the whole algorithm and all that, no one can really do that. But today we understand that when people fight, no matter if they are young or old, that doesn't really give you the knowledge you need to rule a country. But as we can see today, Tinubu may be old, but his experience, I believe Nigeria will profit from his experience, apart from his corrupt and other accusations that people are laying against him. I don't see it that way. I see it a little bit different, that everyone deserves a chance. If we are not utilizing the chance we are having, then we should be criticized for not doing what we are supposed to be doing. And at the same time, we can see the policy is putting in place. Right now, we can see the subsidies of the petroleum is removed, and we all shout and shout. But the problem was just not the way it was removed. Remove it, maybe it is good, but the way our people always react, you see everybody queuing at the filling station as if tomorrow there will be no petrol or there will be no fuel in our filling station. I don't think the removal of the subsidies was just a problem. It's only our people who were the problem. Started queuing, trying to buy a reserve and all that. But we shouldn't forget, during the election period, what happened about the new Nigeria note. We experienced the same. We experienced the same because of some greedy people who want to make money out of it. And that is why things are very, very difficult for our people. And I'm not a fan of Ahmed Tinubu, no, I voted for him. But when we look at the things he has been putting in places right from the beginning, we can say Nigeria could be moving to the right direction of recreating himself, of refining himself. Because Nigeria dependency was just too much. Because Nigeria could have collapsed in a few years to come because of our dependence on petroleum and the other that was being refined from other countries, because this is a heavy weapon. The British could have used against us, and they can use against us if we cannot refine our own crude oil and sell to other countries. I believe Nigeria will make billions daily if we refine our own oil, refine the oil that is, or the crude oil that is going out and sell it to other countries. This is a huge money. This is how the United States make their money. This is how the British make money. See, on the reopening of the border is also a good sign, because we were locked in and that we were not allowed to export so many things, so many goods and items. Although it might not benefit Nigeria, but I believe there should be some certain guidelines, and, some certain things put in place before we should have did that. And Nigeria, they doesn't put things into consideration so many times before they do anything. Just like the new Naira note and the subsidiaries that is imposed, that was imposed, and they're now removed. So I think we have a long way to go to bring Nigeria back to his stage, to bring Nigeria back to the world stage. The problem is not just Nigerian government. The problem is Nigerian citizens. The Nigerian citizens do whatever they want to do and whatever they like to do, corrupt in so many ways. Even the smallest citizen in that country is corrupt, because everybody wants to be in office to eat, but not to do something for the people. But not all, not all. There are still some few good ones, and these few good ones need to be selected out and put in positions that we know can really profit our people. So that is all about Ahmed Tinubu, and we also heard yesterday that the former CBN governor MFLA or was arrested or under investigation and sacked. So there's a lot going on, because we know exactly what happened during the election. Because we doesn't need to blame this on anybody, because when you see your people suffering and you refuse, because of personal profit, because of profit that people who are sponsoring you could make, you refuse to reduce the tension, and you allow our people to suffer without proper guidelines, without proper, let me say, proper working background to ease this tension, then you are also complicit. So that is the reason why so many of these people who serve under Buhari have to pay for the crime they committed. It's not just Emefiele. Most of our ministers, we have to do that, to show example to others that Nigeria is not your private pocket. Nigeria belongs to 200,000, over 200 million people. 200 million people. You cannot just be deciding on people, imposing poverty on our people without proper policy that will reduce those poverty. So things are going to be very, very rough for those people. And I believe all those cabinet secretary as well should also be held responsible for their wrongdoing. See, because Nigeria is a country, almost every Nigerian citizens will say something stupid about Nigeria, say say anything about Nigeria. Nigeria is the most corrupt country in the world, this and that. But that is not really true. Nigeria is performing very good in the international stage. We might be looking down on Nigeria today, but wherever you go in the world today, everybody knows Nigeria, and, especially the black nations. Everybody knows Nigeria because Nigeria has been standing on this gap where no other country has been standing and stand. So that is it for that. Let me come back to our own Edo State. Yes, I'm one of those people who usually criticize Governor Obaseki, and I will continue to do that when it comes to our tradition, because tradition is different from governing people academically. Uh, I would say that people may not agree with me because people used to call him Hundan and this and that. Yes, that may be the truth. But for me, I have both ways. Have both ways to look at the whole issue, looking at everything that is really happening today in Edo State, the development that Edo State is, the direction Edo State is moving towards. For me, tradition first, but culture also first. But the improvement of life for our people shouldn't, because of tradition and the others, be put on hold. Uh, yes, Obaseki did poorly and very wicked when it comes to our tradition. But when you also look at the other way, and see the development and the type of job he has been doing, you can swear say Obaseki has been the best governor for Edo State. Let me say from the past 5 or 6 governor Edo State produced. We can see when people always at the beginning it was performing poorly. We can see that. We can say that, but due to our critics and all others, I think he was able to wake up and say, oh, now I'm being left behind. I need to do something. And he did something. He's doing something, and I want to praise him for that because not every governor in Edo State performed the way he performed. Now, academically, economically, we can see the direction Edo State is moving towards. We are not going back at this moment, but we are moving forward. And I believe there's a sort of settlement between him and the palace and the Benin Traditional Council. Because a state without peace and security is a very, very difficult one to govern. Because I hope he recognized that because our traditional rulers, our chiefs, Enoges, Mohe, and others have also been doing a great job when it comes to terms of security. Securing lives and properties of our people has been the priority of these people. Yeah, many people may come to criticize this and that because we all are human beings. Sometimes we make mistakes, sometimes we do something good, but people will always remember what you do wrong and not remember what you do good to them sometimes. So most of these enoges we are also talking about, they also have their own good side. We shouldn't forget that because most of them created uh, some insecurity to their community when it comes to land sales and when it comes to decision making. And this was very poor of those enoges and others. But in all, we all are human beings, and we should also learn from these mistakes. And as I'm looking at it, we are not really learning from these mistakes, but we are creating a sort of another line. We are deviating from the former line, going to another line without even examining what went wrong and how to escape or how not to make the same mistake in the future, because we can see today, because from my own view, I'm saying this from my own view, because I can see what is really going on, because these mistakes are not really corrected in the form they are supposed to be corrected. It is not a criticism to anyone or to the palace or to anyone, but we have to look at things differently. And this is why I'm here. And this is why our organizations are here. We sit down and look at the whole issue. What is going on? Why is this going on? And the lesson we learn from it, and 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 what we do out of these things, the next step we are taking has an implication, because it's going to determine the future of everybody. So in the case of tradition, yes, we have seen some traditional rulers being placed, uh, or some being placed as devil, evil, even before they stand off with the palace. We saw that before. But we should be very careful, not because some set of people come into social media to be accusing some Enogis of evil doing in their areas, and that we should also look at the other part, look at the other party, what transpired before we jump up to say, oh, this Enoge is evil, Enoge. They look at what he's doing to his people, this and that. Because when we look at what has been going on in Edo State for the past 20 years, then we should understand, we should learn from it. We should learn from it, because of the land says in all the environment, close to Benin. Benin, we understand there was war. There was war, people battle against community, battle against community with guns, creating sort of refugees in some communities. We didn't forget that this was not the work of the Enogis. It was the work of the youth who are supposed to be working towards the future for their children also. You know, they did that because of land. It was not the Enogis. Although some of the youth now take over the power of so many of the community, that's why we have to be very, very careful when we are talking about this is evil, that is not evil. It always depends on our perspective, how we look at things. And we make condemnation, or we will praise somebody, And then it also depends on the information that people are giving us that we work with. But it is very, very good sometimes when you do proper investigation, and they're not just listening to one side of the history or the story that you say, oh, this is the result. No, it takes time, to really examine everything, and this is sometimes what we are not doing. Uh, this what I'm saying now, it doesn't affect the issue between the issue that was going on between the palace and some Inogis. But in all, I can tell you 85% of the Nugis, of the Ohen, and the Ojon Weresh we're having in Edo State stand with their people. They stand with their people, they make sure they have security, they make sure the well-being of their people is placed as number one. And we should also recognize that it's not just by coming up in social media to start accusing, and at the same time insulting, because I always take time to look at some issues. When the issue of this Enogi started, I came up here to say no, we shouldn't insult any Enogi in a way. We should listen very carefully, and we should hear their own side of the story. And immediately I did that, and I understand we have to take some decision here. And then we take that decision, which was not even hard to take that. We have to support the palace, and then we have to encourage everyone that is involved uh, in this conflict to come to one table to talk, and at the same time find a solution. And I believe today there's a solution. There's a solution that we can say is manageable for everyone. And yeah, so let's move on to religion. Religion and our culture is like being mixed together today. Uh, let's just say, for example, people say white wedding, and then people say traditional wedding. You know, It's like when you say Edoba, and you say Benima, So both of them are the same. They are, Edo person is from the group of the Benin people, and the traditional wedding and the white wedding is also a traditional wedding. The white wedding is the European and the American wedding system, you know. And when you go to the Arab world, you see another system of wedding. When you go to the Asia, you see another system of wedding. Uh, all of them are tradition, but the one that is well known to us is the traditional wedding and the white wedding. You see, we don't have to mix both together because both are different things. One is done with Bible, and the other one is done in the midst of the family. Uh, and I believe our traditional marriage carry weight more than the Christian wedding, which is the white wedding people are talking about, because our culture is what made us, our history is what made us to be whom we are today. And when we neglect, if we neglect all those that made us, our life will be confused. The future will be confused. So that is why it's very, very important. We move on. We move on and create create more space for our culture because that's needed. I'm not against any religion or Christianity or any other thing, as far it doesn't insult or affect our people. And then we can see how the Christianity is affecting our people today, the brainwashing and all that. We can see some dubious preachers who is using uh, their knowledge against the unknown people. I think the government needs to stand against this because uh, there's Western education, there is Western culture. That is not our culture because we are losing and we are losing every day. We are losing ground to all this culture. It's imposed and important in us, and we should be very very careful because we will lose everything. 100 years is going to be very, very different life. Uh, we in Africa, we are doing the opposite of what the Westerners are doing. We are doing the opposite in a way because the Westerners, they are moving away from religion. But the African people, we are moving into religion. You know? And that has been the case. And that has been why the Westerners was able to manipulate their way into our life and they enslave us the way they enslave us today. So we can also blame them fully. We have to blame ourselves because we accepted what they brought to us, and we don't really question why is it so. We need to start questioning. We need to start asking questions, and these questions should be asked. Why are Europeans leaving Christianity? Why are Europeans going away from religion? And why Africans go into religion? Because there are so many issues. The poorer the countries are, the more they hold on the religion. And the richer the countries are, the more they neglect religion because when it needs something to control people, either they give them religion or give them dictatorship. This is all we're having all this in Africa. And this is very, very bad. So for today, I would say many people should have an open eye, have an open mind to our own culture, to our own religion, because we know God before these people came to our life. There was no evil in Africa before these people came. When they came, they make us to be the evil and they make them to be good people. And today, in all our educational system of that period, in the 60s, in the 70s, we saw what our exercise book. This is how everything started. The miseducation started with all this textbooks, exercise books, and all that. You see, when you see everything on it, you see how a black man is evil to other black men. And then you see our history be systematically erased. And then nobody really talked about that because we want it to happen. And it happened. And now we are crying, we want to go back. But we cannot really go back because our brain is already filled with all this nonsense, with all these fake pictures and all that about Christianity. There's nobody in the whole world today that have killed many people than the white race. In the next 100 years, no black president. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoy my talk. And God bless you all. Bye-bye.